Hi, my name is Emily. I'm from Defence Force Recruiting, and today we are live from the Defence Force School of Signals in Melbourne. The training facility here is home to the Royal Australian Corps of Signals. Throughout its history, Army Signals roles have provided electronic warfare and informations communications technology support to the Army and broader Australian Defence Force around the world. These are critical communications and ICT roles for the Army. The types of jobs you will expect to see on base at the School of Signals include information systems technicians, communication systems operators, and electronic warfare operators. Within these roles, there is the opportunity to work within Special Forces patrols, large headquarters, or out of a four-wheel drive in a field environment. They all play a vital part in keeping the Army in touch, informed, and communicating. I'm here tonight with 3 Army members to answer your questions about Army communications and ICT jobs. Be sure to ask your questions. We will be here for the next 45 minutes or so. So we'll start with our traditional introductions. If you could please let us know your name, your job role, and how long you've served in the Army.
Yep. Hi, I'm Lockie. I'm an electronic warfare operator and I've been in for 2.5 years.
Hi, I'm Ashley and I'm a communication systems operator and I've been serving for about 4 years now.
Hi, I'm Corporal Devkar. I'm information system technician and I've been in the Army since 9.5 years now.
Fantastic. And what made you choose to apply for your specific job role?
So when I was searching defence jobs, I was looking for a role that was technical and this one popped up and it had intelligence as well, so I chose that role.
Also, when I was looking on the website, I wanted to do a job role that was able to help out as best it could in such a diverse area. So I decided to be a radio operator, and here we are.
I migrated to Australia in 2008, and I used to play cricket. I'm playing cricket as well as so. A friend of mine suggested me, hey, are you really good runner, so you really fit, why don't you join Army? And I goes, okay, I'll give it a try, because they gave me a really good idea that Army can train you as well, and my interest was in information system technician, and they said, yeah, if you don't have qualification, they will teach you, and I just called Defence Recruiting Centre, and I'm here.
And were you always set on a military career?
Yeah, I was pretty much always set on a military career because growing up, as our family would always go to, Anzac Day dawn services, Remembrance Days, and always buying the little badges you see at Woolworths or something. And I always was really inspired by those people, so I thought, I'd get involved and see what it's all about, really. Next.
Yeah, for me it's like back in India I worked on fighter aircraft as a structural fitter, and when I was looking at the aircraft and the soldiers or Air Force people, I goes, yes, I really want to do this job. And then I migrated to Australia, and I goes, yeah, there is a really good opportunity to enhance my skills as well and to serve for the country. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was studying at university and I was going to take a gap year and decided to join the Army during that time.
Yeah, wonderful. And how do you interact with each other in your job role?
So my job role is like information system technician. So we set up servers, and we have technicians. They help us to set up routers. So we always talk to them in order to get servers online, and then operators, they help us to do the setups as well, and then they give us the basic comms. So that's how we interact with each other, like make sure the comms is always active.
Yeah. We also, communication systems operator, also work with information technicians. Just trying to learn each other's jobs, trying to help each other out when we're trying to set up like a really big location, because it's a lot of work for them and not as much for us, but it's still, just as important to help each other out in those moments.
Yeah, I suppose my job's a bit different, but like we work together at my unit. They are more supporting elements for us, so they sort of provide our backbone communications before we go out, and then we go out and do our job.
So explain for me a little bit your job roles in particular. Lucky?
You can go
Yeah,
first.
yeah. So, as an electronic warfare operator, your job is to search for signals of interest and try and locate them. So we work in intelligence analysis and also like technically on our equipment to try and achieve that.
So my job role is pretty much to provide communications from point A to point B. That could be from, HQ to the battlefield, could be to a med center, could be anywhere, just so everyone's kind of on the same page of what's going on. If anything goes wrong or if anyone needs like more equipment sent out to them, and pretty much just everyone on the same page, really.
Yeah, my job role is to set up servers, make sure all the laptops we provide to different elements of the defense, they are functional. They should be able to access emails or any other applications they use. So we pretty much just keep the comms up and running.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, Hayley has asked, what kind of environment do you work in as a communication systems operator specifically? Do you do a lot of field work?
So it's a really diverse area that we can work in. We can literally work in any type of environment. You could work in from a nice cushy office to out into the boondocks, really, like anywhere, from the beaches to the scrub. You could work outfield just as comfortably as you could in an office, really.
And I suppose that works for all three of you in your job roles as well. When you're looking at communications and ICT roles, I suppose you'd think you'd be working behind a desk or, at an office, but there is quite a large outdoors component to your job role as well.
Yeah, the amazing setup you can have out in the field is just the exact same as a classroom, yeah.
So our job is actually start when we go outfield or deploy, and once we go out, it could be whether in the building or maybe out in the bushes. So it just depends where you deploy or where you go on exercise.
Same goes for you, Lucky?
Yeah, definitely. Our job's primarily done outfield, so at the tactical level, I'd say it's about 70 to 80% field work, and then the rest is sort of training in the back at base environment, but not necessarily just indoors. You'll be training outdoors too.
Yeah, wonderful. Shashi has asked, Vikrant, can you talk something about family life that got you into the Army? So they would like to know a little bit about the work culture and diversity.
Yeah, so it is a bit difficult, but defense is always there to help you if you're struggling, if you don't get time with your family. Defense is always help you. My time during the Army is really good. Like I really enjoyed being in the Army, and I never had that time when I was struggling, that I'm away from my family. There is always support level for us. If we need to talk to our family when we overseas or maybe on exercise.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, Lockie, let's hear a little bit more about your career and journey as an electronic warfare operator, from initial training here at Simpson Barracks to, I guess, some of the great opportunities that you've had this year.
So as an electronic warfare operator, we work to search the electromagnetic spectrum for signals of interest and try and locate them. Day to day, we'll do PT and start off in the morning with that, and then we'll move on to like equipment maintenance and training. So it does vary day to day. At the start of the year, we'll always be training for exercises and sort of doing that build-up period. And then after all the main sort of exercises are complete, then we can focus on like individual training and doing courses and such. When I joined, you go through basic training at Kapooka, and then everyone comes to Simpson Barracks, where they do some basic signals core courses, and then they sort of wait in holding until their initial employment training is available up in Kabbalah. I had the opportunity earlier this year to travel to the US to work with international partners on a joint exercise for 6 weeks. The USA, Canada, Great Britain, New Zealand and Australia. So we all work together, and there's other opportunities available from my unit where you can go on short-term exchanges to both the US and New Zealand. So the kind of person I'd recommend apply for my role would be someone with integrity. They're honest about themselves, and they've got to be a fairly confident speaker, because you'll often be briefing people at the higher level about your job and what sort of information you've gathered, and also you have to be technically minded and able to pick up new skills fairly easily. So I really enjoy the variety and being able to work in the intelligence side of the job and also the technical side where you're learning new skills and testing new equipment and being able to use it in your job.
Some really great insight into your job role, Lockie, and it was really interesting to hear how you're constantly training and learning as part of your development in that job role. Obviously, it's essential for you to be up to date on emerging technology and those kind of things. And as well as being in the classroom for this, as we saw, your job role also involves a lot of work outdoors. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, so primarily our job's done outfield. So we'll be training to integrate with combat teams. We'll be working either mounted or dismounted operations, so either in vehicles or out of them. And that's how we sort of support the combat elements. And that's primarily where our training's done, outside.
Yeah, wonderful. So let's have a talk about the application process for these job roles. So we've got a question here about qualifications. So what qualifications do you need to join? Do you have to be super tech minded or have to achieve amazing results at school?
Oh, God, no. So pretty much all you need to do to join as a communications systems operator, you practically just need a Year 10 pass, maths, English. You don't need a science class at all, really, just as long as you've got that Year 10 or equivalent pass mark, really.
Yeah, similar qualification for information system technician as well, and just keen to learn new technology as well. So in my trade, we have people from different background, like or jobs as well. I got few chef as well join as an information system technician, and now they working as information system technician and doing their job really good.
Yeah, cool. So Year 10 English Maths, that's your base level requirement?
Yes.
Yes.
Easy. How can you prepare for the application process?
Do your research, so have a look online and see what jobs you want to apply for, and then just research as much as you can about it.
Even if you don't know what job you really want to go for, it's really good to do your U session, do your aptitude test, and find out what jobs are actually available to you, and then you can go from there, research what you want, and then pick from there, really.
Yeah, just on the Defence Jobs website, you will have like required documents, and make sure the documents are all good to go before you present yourself for the job interview. And when you preparing for yourself like aptitude test, there is a guide on Defence Jobs website. So just make sure download that guide and do some study before you ready for the aptitude test, because that test will determine which job you're going to do in the Army or Defence.
Absolutely. And what are the fitness requirements like for joining?
So you can find the fitness requirements on the website, but basically you want to be a little bit fit before you apply. Just try and be active. But yeah, once you're in, you get training, and that helps you go through and pass the tests.
All the fitness requirements are achievable if you work towards it. They're all really achievable. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a beep test and push-ups and sit-ups. But before joining Army, I was doing the beep test and push-ups and sit-ups in my own time as well. So just prepare yourself, and you should be fine.
Yeah, wonderful. Steph asked, do you require a technical background to work within Signals, or are you taught everything you need to know?
So you don't really require a technical background. As soon as you get to the school, they teach you the baseline of the science that you need to know behind it, and then they just build you up from there.
Yeah, like any sort of relevant skills you'll be taught, basically. So it's always good to have an understanding for your sort of personal knowledge, but they teach you everything you need to know.
Yeah, for information system technician, even if you don't know about computers, they will teach you everything from the beginning. Like this is the keyboard, this is mouse, this is monitor. So it is pretty much like from the scratch. So it is easy to pick up the knowledge.
Wonderful. And I guess looking at technical background as well, is there a lot of practical work in your job roles?
Yes. So as an information technician, what they do, like they will teach you the component. For example, okay, this is the application, and then we will do the practical test. You have to pass the practical test. Even if you can't, then they will provide you more training, and they will assist you to get through that exam.
With our job role, we're always in the classroom, well, specifically at the school as well. So you're learning about one radio. The best way to do it is by actually turning it on and using the antennas. So really, most of the classwork is practical.
Yeah, definitely. Like my job is all practical, and you learn a little bit of theory, sort of why you're going to use it, and then you learn how to use it.
Wonderful. Look, Joshua has asked, how many other electronic warfare operators, communication system operators, and information systems technicians, I think you just wanted me to say all your titles in one sentence, how many of them work within your teams? Are they large teams, so 30 plus, or are they quite small?
It can vary from all different kind of workplaces. So where we are now up in Brisbane, it's probably about, we've got 4 different teams, and it ranges from about 3 to about 6 people working together.
So quite small.
Quite small, yes.
Okay.
So my job is different. So we deploy different servers. So different servers means like how many clients or laptops you going to deploy. So depending on the size of the your detachment or the equipment, it will determine how many people. In my detachment, we normally roll out with 8 people.
8?
Yeah.
Okay, again, quite small.
Yeah, in my job it varies quite a lot. You could be attached to a combat team as a pair or anywhere up to a detachment size, which is about 5-6 people.
Okay, cool. So relatively little in terms
Yes.
of teams. And Gab has asked, what made you choose a career in the Army over Navy or Air Force? Is that just something you fell into through the recruiting process?
Well, I didn't join the Air Force because I'm scared of heights. And,
Okay, fair enough.
I saw the Titanic movie, so the Army was the best bet.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I joined the Army because I didn't like the ocean. I'd get a little bit seasick. Yeah, so I just chose that.
Fair enough.
I'm just inspired from Hollywood movies. Most of the Hollywood movies based on Army. So yeah, I just go, yeah, I'm going to join Army.
So looking at your job roles, I guess, communications and systems, what would be something that has surprised you working within these job roles?
Surprise.
Okay. No, just how diverse all the different environments you can work in. As I mentioned before, I've worked in environments where we've been on the beach, where you haven't seen a tree for God knows, into a classroom, into a field where you've set up millions of tents. It's just, you don't know where you'll be working from, one day to the next, really.
Yeah, definitely variety for me. Like you could work anywhere from a ship to on land or in a strategic location. It's quite different.
Yeah, you get opportunity to go to like different countries as well, and then plus the amount of like skills and knowledge you get throughout this job is incomparable. So yeah.
You talk a lot about variety within your job roles. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Start with.
Yeah, start with me. Our day-to-day sort of work when we're not out field is a little bit structured. We'll start with PT in the morning, and then we'll go on through either training, like troop training, or we'll do maintenance. It varies week to week. We'll have like build-up periods before exercise where we're just basically practicing rolling out before we actually go out in the field and do it. So, yeah, it varies across the year.
Yeah. We're pretty much the same. You start out with doing your PT in the morning, and you get back to work, you do your checks to make sure all the equipment's still there. You do your maintenance checks on all your equipment throughout the day, and whatever tasks come down from higher up, you kind of just chisel away at that throughout the day, and that's pretty much it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, we start our day with the PT session as well, and then after that we just wait for the task order, and then once task order in, we just start working on the servers, any server checks, make sure all the equipment is functional, and we just prepare everything ready to go for exercise or deployment. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, we addressed education a little earlier. It was really interesting when we were actually speaking to you, Ashley, a little bit earlier. You told us how you don't necessarily need to be a maths or science whiz in order to follow a career like this. And it was really great to hear about the training and how the mentors here help at the School of Signals and, you know, once you're in the job role and progressing through your career. So let's hear a bit more about your transition from school to today.
Yes, so the role for a communications systems operator, it's really important for the Army to keep everybody really connected back at HQ, what's happening out on the battlefield, any medical emergencies, things like that, keeps everybody on the same page and up to date. Our daily duties are currently posted in Brisbane, so what we like to do is do daily checks, make sure everything is still there, do a lot of maintenance works to see if everything's still working, just constant training to keep people up to date because all of our job is constantly changing, you know, the formats, you know, what we use and how we use it, so just constantly updating people. So you don't really need to excel in maths or science to complete this job role. So as soon as you get to the school, they teach you the basics of what you need to know, and then they build you on from there in the skill sets you're going to need. So that can range from how radio waves transmit through the air to building your antennas to, you know, even talking on the radio. So they teach you everything you really need to know. At the School of Signals, it's all the teachers are really nice when they, you know, trying to open you up into the world of radios and how you use it and just trying to understand as best you can, which is really good. But when you move off into units, for example, Brisbane, you just build on from there pretty much in the actual work environment. What surprised me most about being a communication systems operator is the way that you're able to adapt in all these different environments. So, for example, this truck here could go onto the beaches, could go into a really thick scrub, to a classroom, to anything like that. So just being able to work in any environment, really. My favourite part of the job role is just how diverse it can be from what you do from a day to day. I've been able to work on the beaches up at North Queensland, and then the next day you could be off doing something completely different, which is pretty amazing.
Ashley, you talk a lot about diversity and variety in the job role being one of your favourite parts.
Yep.
So being based in Queensland, can you tell us a bit more about this variety? I mean, you mentioned being in the classroom one day and then out on the beaches the next, or somewhere very remote. It must be exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It has been a bit of a crazy experience because before I went to Brisbane, I was located in Sydney, and Sydney supports a lot of different people around the country. So one year I was off supporting the hospital up at Rockhampton, you know, keeping comms between the ambulances and the hospital. And the next time I was posted to the ships on the beach landing crafts, and they also sent me out to a little town in South Queensland at Gundawindi because keeping comms between you know, the construction site, what they were doing there, and back to hometown. So wherever they send you could be literally anywhere.
Do you have a favourite experience?
The ship was pretty cool
Yeah.
because it was up near Townsville, and the water was just really, really warm and nice.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, Liam asked, the Army promotes a work-life balance. So do you feel that you've achieved this, and how does being in the Army affect your civilian life?
Your sort of experience will vary depending on where you're posted to. At my unit, it's fairly good with work-life balance. The first 6 months of the year are pretty busy, so you won't experience as much sort of home life then because you'll be away a lot for field. But then afterwards, you've got courses and stuff, so yeah, you end up with a pretty good balance.
Work-life balance is, you know, determined where you go and, you know, how well you're able to adapt in like a brand new city. Because once you get out of your IETs, for example, the School of Signals, they'll post you, you know, Darwin, Brisbane, anywhere, and you just, brand new city, you know, you make your own life there, and until you move again in 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
You get to see a lot of the country that way.
yeah.
Yeah, there is a time like when you away from your family quite a bit time, like a month and a half. So once you come back from exercise, we have like reduced tempo period. So unit always give us chance to spend some time with family, and it's just like 2-3 days off, and then weekend like 5 days off, and yeah. So it is good, like we get that time with family after we stay away from them for a long time.
And you do speak about being outfield, so obviously when you're out on exercise, that's you're outfield. When you're back at the base, how are those work days? How do they work? In terms of timings, I guess, is it 9 till 5?
Yeah, so when you're not outfield, you could probably expect to work between like 7:30 and 4.
Yep.
that can vary a little bit depending on what time of year it is, but like that's pretty general, and I'd say that's a good like way to sort of answer that question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nothing.
Same for you guys?
Yep, so pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, Damien has asked, what are the main differences between your 3 job roles?
So the main difference is my job is all about, in simple words, my job is about computers. Her job
Mine's
is about
radios,
radio
and yours is trying to find my
Yeah,
radios.
mine's trying to find communication, so yeah.
Yeah.
Easy. So, what is the School of Signals like? You all came through the school when you enlisted. How did you find that?
The school itself was, pretty good to be a part of what was going on here, and it was just a really nice area to live in, close enough to the city. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's sort of, once you leave Kapooka and you come here, you get adjusted to a bit of a different sort of style of living. You finally get your weekends back, so yeah, you can go into the city on weekends or after work, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so School of Signals, like if we doing course, and if you struggle, like school always help us and give us like extra time as well. So yeah, it is actually good atmosphere. Like everyone comes together, and then you make like new friends as well, because we all do training together, and we just like have really good time when we're doing the courses at schools.
Yeah, mine's a bit different, but we all start here, so you spend a bit of time here before you get to go up for your initial employment training in my job, but you start here, so you'll meet with other trades and get to work with them.
So in terms, I guess, your job role is a little bit different to the other two. So you both enlist and come straight to the School of Signals and spend some time training here, is that right?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Whereas you're here for a little bit of a shorter period.
Yeah, you do a couple of courses here, and then you sort of wait for your training to become available, and then you'll move up to Kabbalah and do it there.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you have to live at the school when you're here?
You have to live on. Depends on the course length.
Yeah, if your course is over, I think about 12 to 18 months, you have the choice to live off, but it's preferable if you just live on.
Yeah, there
while
is
you're at course.
so minimum like 6 months. If your course is 6 months, you can live off base, and if you got family, so.
Okay. Yeah, wonderful. Jono asked, while completing employment training for 12 months as an information systems technician at Simpsons Barracks, will the Army move wife and children down to Victoria as well?
So after, they will move family as well. So once you finish your course, yeah.
Fantastic. Haley asked, has your job taken you anywhere you never expected to go?
I got
About travel opportunities there,
Yeah,
I suppose.
I got to go to the United States. I didn't really expect that before I joined. Once I was in my job, I found out it was an opportunity to go, so I took that if I could. So.
Yeah, awesome.
I've been to plenty of small towns, like Gundawindi, didn't even know that place really existed before. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, been to overseas as well, and different town in North Queensland, like middle of nowhere. So we,
And what's some of the equipment that you work with?
So we work normally on servers, so like high-end servers and different laptops and routers, switches. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Just work with a whole bunch of different radios, really, and antennas that we can build, so that's pretty much it.
I suppose you can both talk to your equipment. Lockie, yours is a wee bit
Yeah,
different.
I can only really say that I work with electronic warfare equipment and radios.
So obviously a lot of your job role is quite high security and classified. So do you enjoy being able to work in that kind of environment?
Yeah, it's a pretty different environment to anything you'd get sort of as a civilian, at least. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, in all of your roles in the Signal Corps, it's essential that you collaborate and work together with each other. I know this is particularly the case for you, Vikrant, and you told us a little bit more about this earlier. So let's see how this works for you in your role when you're actually out in the field.
I'm an information system technician, so my job involves as looking after all the servers. We normally roll out deployable protected network and secret network. like doing day-to-day server checks. So I work with a telecommunication technician and electronic warfare operators. So normally, once we deploy servers, we connect servers back to the routers. So make sure routers are all configured and good to go. So we get the connectivity with the outside world. So my training is like 6 months training as an information technician. So we do all sort of training, which helps us to bring the servers online and keep them running. So environment like this, we set up normally before we deploy or before going on exercise, make sure all the servers and laptops are functional. So like this setup we done today is we're putting the cam nets on, make sure it's hidden from the enemies. Plus we work on the satellites as well, make sure the satellite shot is up to date and we're getting external connectivity. Then we deploy servers, back up this G-Wagon, and then bring the servers online. So I migrated in Australia in 2008, and as soon as I got here, a friend of mine suggested me, why don't you join the army? Because I used to play cricket, and I used to run fast, and he said, like, you are really good athletic, why don't you join the army? And I love adventures. Army is like, it's not only about one job. If I'm information system technician, I'm not doing one job all day. Sometimes I go out and do some training on different weapons type. Sometimes I do and assist different people. So this is what I love about Army. That's why I decided to join Army, and I'm here.
So you're obviously enjoying your job role and your career, Vikrant, which is fantastic. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your role?
So for me, it's if anything goes wrong with the server or laptop and no one can fix it, I would like to step in and then when I fix any issue and after that, like the feeling is like beyond words, like, yeah, I fixed that issue and no one else could fix it. So yeah, I'm just a competitive man. Like I just like to be best in my job.
Yeah, fantastic. What would you guys say is the most rewarding part of your jobs?
Well, I'd say, you know, the people that you meet in the army, and they can stay with you for quite a long time. It's really a mateship that you don't really have anywhere else, which is pretty remarkable, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely being able to work with like people from all different backgrounds, just going across to working with combat teams, like infantry one day and then working with Cav the next, it's pretty good.
So a very important question here. What is the food like here at the school?
It's fantastic. The army is wonderful and the food is great.
Fantastic. I guess we can talk to benefits then as part of the army. What other benefits have you guys had since enlisting?
So being in the army like for 4 years, you will be entitled for DOA has home loan. So it is subsidized loan, and our defense will pay some part of your mortgage to the bank. So depending, like 4 years, and then next year is 8 years. So depending how long you served in the defense, that amount will increase.
You know, free medical, free dental, can't go wrong there.
Huge.
Yeah, the housing is pretty good. Like you can, you got the opportunity to live on base, which is fairly cheap, and then you can always live off. You can get subsidised rent, which is a benefit in some areas where it can be quite expensive to live.
Absolutely, and the fact that you get paid to work out is also great, so to upkeep your fitness.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what kind of personality traits would you suggest apply for a job role like this?
You definitely have to be adaptable. Yeah, because situations always going to be changing, so you never know what's coming around.
Yeah.
Really need to be in control of your stress, because a lot of times the systems, you know, they don't work. It's not explainable, and you can just get very flustered very quickly because you know your job, but if it's just some days your radios just don't want to work with you. So you just need to learn how to. Okay.
I think I'd be useless the second my computer freezes.
I'll say social, because sometimes we go exercise on deployment. There is like time where like you will just have to like sit there and wait for the next orders. So I reckon that time you just have to start talking to people and just come with different ideas and spend some time with your mates. So
Yeah, sense of humour is a must.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of social opportunities do you have?
So you can do sports outside of work if you get that approved, which is pretty good. There's also like ADF sports available for people that want to play like AFL or touch rugby, stuff like that. Yeah.
So you can do sports both internally and externally of the Army.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
A lot of the army units across the country like to do, troop functions. It's where you all go out and do an activity together and just share that bonding time, like outside of work, which is great for people's, spouses, families to come in so they can get to know one another as well, which is really, really important as well.
Yeah, so in my unit, we just every Thursday after 3 o'clock, we just come together and spend some time, like for an hour. We just talk on different subject, or like how was your week, or what are you going to do on the weekend? So
Just a big venting session.
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Very important for everyone. What professional development do you receive within your job roles? I suppose you're constantly working on evolving technology. That's
Yeah.
super important. Do you get any other kind of opportunities for career progression or education, that kind of thing?
Yes, so Defence has a scheme, Defence Assisted Study Scheme. So where you can, if you want to learn something relevant to your trade, Defence will provide you assistance, like they will provide you part of fees towards your study. And you can do the study in your own time. They will, if there is a time, they can relieve you from work to sit for the exam, and you can do your study as well.
Don't really have anything else to add to that. That was
Summed
pretty
it up
good.
really well. Okay, so what was the experience at Kapooka like? I guess we can talk about training. So Kapooka, and then your training here once you came to the School of Signals. How long was that? What did you do within that training?
Yeah, so Kapooka for everyone at the moment, like everyone will go there straight away from enlistment. It's about 3 months or 80 days. And then, yeah, for like SIG's trade, you'll come to the school here. Mine's a bit different, so, they can speak more about their training here, but basically, your workload gets a bit easier to manage. You're not sort of working all day, every day, 7 days a week. When you come to the school, it's much more of a learning environment. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for an operator here at school, so the course goes for about 8 months. And before your course actually starts, you sit here and you wait for your course dates to start, because there could be other people from basic that are enrolled to do your course that is not here yet.
Okay.
So you've just got to wait for everyone to rock up pretty much. Yeah.
So information system technician course is for like 6 months, and it's mainly based in the classroom. So 80% training is within the classroom, 20% is outfield. So whatever you learn throughout that time, you apply those skills and training on exercise or on outside. So it's all about like Microsoft applications and different softwares, how to use them, plus routers, switches. You learn a lot on different equipment as well.
Fantastic. And our last question for this evening, guys. Meg has asked, what is your most memorable experience within your careers to date?
This year's been pretty good, going overseas and then experiencing different exercises. So I was able to go on one of the ships for a period and then go outfield from that. So it was completely different. I'd never done that before.
I guess it's great that as part of the Army you still get to experience the different aspects of the Defence Force. So you've both seen yourself on ships as well. So you get the opportunity to collaborate with the different services as well as different job roles. So that's really great.
I'd say one of my most memorable moments of the Army was I managed to meet my husband in the services. So nothing can really top that, can it?
Not really.
Yeah, for me, it's overseas trip. So that was my most memorable experience. Like I never thought like I'll go overseas and I'll experience different, people around me are different, and yeah, it's good to see different countries and different people. And, yeah.
Fantastic. That is all that we have time for today, guys. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for answering for us today, guys. That was really great. Remember, you can jump onto the Defence Jobs website today to apply online or to find out some more information. Any other questions that we haven't answered, we will get to over the next few days. But thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next one.